choice to know is yours. This phrase is one of the several that Q Team has expressed multiple times throughout the 20-month-long 8-chan drop, six words, that's it. But it truly is the backbone of the whole movement, and once you decide that you indeed do choose to know, the quest begins. In the broader picture, we Anons have studied, researched, put to the test the words versus actions, learned gematria, questioned the standard probability quotient of its possibility, and we've examined as to whether or not someone rose from the dead within the movement. Talk about a conspiracy theory. This has it all. And as more time goes by, so does the increasingly levitativity of the information being given become. But just like any addict, we cannot get enough. Because when you're convicted and given eyes that see and the ears that hear, you need more. The interesting thing for those of us who have spent 20 months engaged day after day, week after week, and month after month, is that we wish desperately for others to join along in our addiction. We proclaim to anyone that will listen, Q is real, or you can't see what Q is saying here, but most of the time it falls onto deaf ears. Here's the good news for those of you who believe and those that don't. The next phase is called the justice phase. And what you are all about to witness, the mass arrest, the unmasking of their deepest, darkest, vile acts, will boggle the minds of the average human. This was planned years before Trump took office. But not only by our fearless leader, but by the little boy standing on the side of the road saluting, and his recently deceased father rolled by in procession. Some understand this and some don't. Again, that choice is yours. If you've been reading the Q drops, you'd grasp this. And if you haven't, you're missing out on the greatest event ever planned and executed in human history. Why would anyone else choose not to know about that? Please stand by. It's about to get real. Enjoy the show. I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. Where we go one, we go all. May God also grant all of us the wisdom to ask what concrete steps we can take to reduce the violence and weaponry in our midst. So please pray. Operators are in harm's way, high risk, high value targets. Please pause and give thanks to those who would die to save our republic. Amazing how things make sense once you are asked a question. It's the entire point of this operation. It all will make sense. Once it does, We look to you to spread the word and to get the word out. Your president needs your help. He wants full transparency for the great people of this country. Everything stated is for a reason. The FBI and the military intelligence currently have an open investigation into the Clinton Foundation. Why didn't Comey drop this? Who was the FBI director during the Haiti crisis? How many kids disappeared? How much money was sent to the Clinton Foundation under disguise of Haiti relief? And how much of it actually went to Haiti? Why is this relevant? You'll find out. Follow the money. Who pulls the strings? Strings detached. Open season on the puppets. Who are the puppets? Where are the puppets? Globally. MSN. Mockingbird. Secret agents. Why is this relevant? No matter what race, gender, or religion you are, no matter who you voted for, no matter if you hate Donald Trump, no matter if you hate cops or government in general, no matter if you love the news on CNN, MSNBC, etc., and hate all the other channels, no matter if you are young or old, no matter if you give a damn about politics, world peace, rape, or corruption, please hear this message and share it with everyone. Time is very short. You need to hear this. You need to hear this right now. Very soon, terrible news will spread. It'll seem impossible to believe. Horrible, sickening, unbelievable things. It'll shake your world and may turn everything you ever believed in upside down. People you know will be accused of unbelievable, monstrous things. This could be people in Hollywood, politicians, journalists, pop stars, charities, religious leaders, institutions, heads of states, police officers, so on, so forth, etc. We want you to know that good people have been fighting a silent battle behind the scene in order to save the world from terrible horrors. It was a lonely war. It was a silent one. Chances are you did not even notice it, but you will soon. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm warning you, and why you must hear me out. We were just a bunch of anonymous people from around the globe. We weren't in it for the money or the fame. We just couldn't watch the world burn down and do absolutely nothing about it. That is why we're here and why we're trying to warn you. We have been supporting our President Donald J. Trump in his effort to drain the swamp. I don't care if you like our president or not. I just want you to know that he will protect you regardless. Horrible things happen that will come to the light. Please don't be afraid. You will be safe. Bad actors will be brought to justice. Good people will prosper and live happy lives. Children and adults in slavery will be liberated. Be prepared for what you will find. Some truths are hard to swallow. Remember to inform your friends and family. Stay calm and inform yourself. Archive everything offline. Your president works day and night to protect you from the unthinkable horrors. This will all be over soon. We are all winning. We are all winning very bigly.
They've told us to be quiet. They've told us to say nothing and do nothing. But I tell you, I draw a line in the sand. Enough is enough. They've mocked the body of Christ for too long. An army of men and women is rising up in this hour. God is answering our prayer. He will not be mocked. He's a God that answers by fire. Do not be afraid of the showdown. Don't be afraid of the showdown. Don't be afraid. It's time to mock the false gods of Egypt.
come from all around the world with many different backgrounds. And sometimes there's barriers. I'm not here to tell you to believe in God or Satan. But the fact of the matter is, there's lots of people that do. The elite themselves worship Satan, whether you want to believe that or not. And they've spent a lot of time and money trying to get the masses not to believe in God, while they believe and hold true their satanic connections, an ancient hope, a new world order. A pastor who took part in a laying of the hands prayer on President Trump in the Oval Office in the summer of 2016 claims Hollywood is full of devil worshippers who engage in human sacrifice and drink the blood of children. These people are full of the devil. These people can't even be reasoned with, Rodney Howard-Browne said in a sermon over the weekend. They have already given their soul to the devil. Are you with me? These people go through seances. These people drink blood. These people sacrifice children. In an online posting by the right-wing hatch, Howard-Browne added, "They sacrifice children at the highest levels in Hollywood. They drink the blood of the young kids. This is a fact. That's why the next thing to be exposed will be all the pedophilia that is going to come out of Hollywood and coming out of Washington, D.C. The human sacrifice and the cannibalism have been going on for years, and it is no longer going to be covered up. Nobody wanted to believe us. Nobody wanted to believe you. This goes deep, from the border to the trafficking to Hollywood, all the way to D.C. I am here to tell you this is a fact. This was the start of it all. The opening of the floodgates, the flooding of information, a waterfall of crime is about to come down upon this world. Many of the Hollywood actors that you go see on a screen, what you don't know, they bring a witch. They do a big seance right there on the set, and they worship devils. And they allow devils to come into them before they take part of what they're going to do. They let the devils come in before they act. This is a fact. This is what I'm telling you. The time has come to say enough is enough. No more mocking the body of Christ. God has answered the prayers, and justice is coming. Those who hurt the children have been warned, and they mocked his word.
They've told us to be quiet. They've told us to say nothing and do nothing. But I tell you, I draw a line in the sand. Yeah, Eminem drew a line in the sand the other day. Looks like he tries to think he's from the hood. Please, give me a break. Some pasty white boy trying to act like he's from the hood. He doesn't even know what the hood looks like. He's made money off the hood, but he's about to get put on a hood. Enough is enough. They've mocked the body of Christ for too long. An army of men and women is rising up in this hour. God is answering our prayer. He will not be mocked. He's a God that answers by fire. Do not be afraid of the showdown. Don't be afraid of the showdown. Don't be afraid. It's time to mock the false gods of Egypt and their prophets. What are these people? What are these holy? They're prophets of the enemy. You know, I mock you. And some say, no, we must be nice so we can win them for Jesus. These people are full of the devil. These people can't even be reasoned with. These are not people that you can talk to, and they already have given their soul to the devil. Are you with me? These people go through seances. These people drink blood. These people sacrifice children. Somebody said they don't do that. They sacrifice children at the highest levels in Hollywood. They drink blood of young kids. This is a fact. That's why the next thing to be exposed will be all the pedophilia that's going to come out of Hollywood and come out of Washington, D.C. The human sacrifice and the cannibalism has been going on for years. Somebody said, oh, they don't do that. It's worse than what you think. You remember when the whole spirit cooking thing came out? That's commonplace, ladies and gentlemen. And many of the Hollywood actors that you go see on a screen, what you don't know, they bring a witch. They do a big seance right there on the set, and they worship devils, and they allow devils to come into them before they take the part of what they're going to act. It's a fact what I'm telling you.
This is a absolute catastrophe for our country. This was a fake witch hunt, and it should never be allowed to happen to another president again. This was treason. This was high crimes. This was everything as bad a definition as you want to come up with. This should never be allowed to happen to our country again. Drain the swamp. We have some very, very bad people in government that would be willing to do very bad things and for bad reasons. So I don't mention pardon, but, you know, I don't say what's going to happen in the future. I just
Feel my pain. D-class and death penalty. President Trump has given Attorney General Barr total release authority for D-class. At the same time that AG Barr has reinstated the death penalty in the United States of America. That combination is a deep state's worst nightmare. No wonder the deep state Democrats are frantically tweeting to protest the death penalty reinstatement. Lisa Crawley tweeted, "Tonight on Hannity's show, President Trump said he gave AG Barr total release authority for D-class and also gave him authority to release to his people or whomever he wants, or frankly, perhaps people like Devin Nunes, who is a star." POTUS on Hannity, we have some very, very bad people in government that do very bad things. Those of us following the alliance battle know that President Trump is not exaggerating with that statement.
Up to you to go wherever you want with this. This has been something you've had to deal with your entire presidency almost. You were loud in saying it was not true. It was a witch hunt. And we had 4 separate investigations backing up your claim and culminating in what you saw yesterday. So your reaction to all that?
Well, I think people learned a lot yesterday watching a very poor performance and watching things that they couldn't believe when they saw what was going on. And hopefully we're going to be able to find out how a thing like this started. It was a disgrace to our country. It's, you know, I think there's a whole new day starting. I think, you know, I used to use, and I still use, drain the swamp. We have some very, very bad people in government that would be willing to do very bad things and for bad reasons. So I don't mention pardon, but, you know, I don't say what's going to happen in the future. I just don't comment on it.
U.S. government has given approval for the military tribunals in Gitmo and elsewhere to be televised live. As Q has often said, there's nowhere for them to hide. Once the indictments, over 100,000 now, are opened, unsealed, the show begins. Folks, it's kind of a hard situation here. No one really wants the death penalty for someone. But if their crimes are so fitting and so heinous to a level of what they've climbed to in their satanic, ritualistic, Luciferian, loving, human rights abuse ways, this is going to be fitting. And they will cease to exist. We will exterminate this evil once and for all from the face of the earth. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, but terror to the evildoers.
I think there's a whole new day starting. I think, I used to use, and I still use, Drain the Swamp.
We know that Epstein was found semi-conscious in his cell with neck wounds. As many anons are saying, why would such a vulnerable prisoner like Epstein be put into a cell with an ex-cop quadruple murderer? It sounds highly suspicious, like a setup. However, he is now in solitary confinement, being monitored 24/7. His trial is slated to begin on the 31st of July. We expect some big names out of that. Political, all the way to Hollywood, and everything in between. The current whirlwind of events are all part of the main event. Yes, dear friends, after many years of patiently waiting for the arrival, we are now in the heart of the storm. Pray for President Trump and the entire alliance team. We are all with you. Where we go one, we go all. Except Gitmo. That's just for the evil, bad people. God bless the worldwide Patriots. Love and light, from dark to light. I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. And we'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour. Make sure you're subscribed, like, share, and comment. We are heavily shadow banned. You can beat the algorithms of YouTube by manually sharing across all social media platforms while you can. We appreciate it, and thank you. Decide for yourself. Be free from outside opinion. Decide for yourself. Be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself. Be true in your own beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be open to following the facts. Decide for yourself. Be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements. Decide for yourself and be free. Those who attack you, those who mock you, those who call you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you, or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement, the Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter, a new social networking platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, and patriotism, or national pride, the feeling of love, devotion, and the sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding to truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to clearly see the choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone, and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. Folks, it has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life running the Patriot Hour and meeting all of you Patriots. You guys really are some of the greatest Patriots a fellow's ever seen. Again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. Where we go one, we go all. Please like, share, and make a comment on this video. We're heavily shadow banned, so share while you can across all social media platforms. It helps beat the YouTube algorithm. You can manually share it where their algorithms are not. Thank you. It's time to declare your independence from tyranny, America. For too long now, we've suffered the injustices of a government that has no regard for our rights or our humanity. We have done this to ourselves. Imagine that in this very same country that we live in, you are watched all the time. And if you even look a little bit suspicious, the police stop and frisk you or pull you over to search you on the off chance you're doing something wrong or illegal. Keep in mind that if you have a firearm of any kind or anything that resembled a firearm, while in this country it may get you arrested and or in some circumstances shot by the police. If you're thinking this sounds like America today, you wouldn't be far wrong. However, more than 200 years ago, when American colonists suffered under Great Britain's version of an early police state, it was only when the colonists finally got fed up with being silenced, censored, searched, frisked, threatened, and arrested that they finally revolted against their tyrants' fetters. And no document better states their grievances than the Declaration of Independence, drafted by Thomas Jefferson. You need to read the Declaration of Independence again and maybe again and ask yourself, while you're reading it, if the list of complaints tallied by Jefferson doesn't bear a startling resemblance to the abuses that we the people are suffering at the hands of the American police state today. If you don't really find the Declaration of Independence by the fathers and you find it hard to maybe decipher, here's my translation of what the Declaration of Independence would look like and sound like if it were written in modern words. There comes a time when the populace must stand united and say enough is enough to the government's abuses, even if it means getting rid of political parties in power. Believing that we, the people, have a natural and divine right to direct our own lives, here are the truths about the power of the people and how we arrived at the decision to sever our ties to the government. All people are created equal. All peoples possess certain inalienable rights that no government or agency or individual can take away from them. Among these are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the government's power comes from the will of the people. Whenever any government abuses its power, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish that government and replace it with new government that will respect and protect the rights of its people that it's made up from. It is not wise to get rid of a government for minor transgressions. In fact, as history has shown, people resist change and are inclined to suffer all manner of abuses to which they have become accustomed. However, when the people have been subjected to repeated abuses and power grabs carried out with the purpose of establishing a tyrannical government, people have a right and a duty to do away with that tyrannical government and replace it with a new government that will protect and preserve the innate rights for the future well-being. Now, some would argue this is exactly the state of affairs we are under and suffering under right now, which is why it is necessary that we change this imperial system of government. The history of the present imperial government is a history of repeated abuses and power grabs carried out with the intention of establishing absolute tyranny over the country. To prove this, consider the following. The government has, through its own negligence and arrogance, refused to adopt urgent and necessary laws for the good of the people. The government has threatened to hold up critical laws unless the people agree to relinquish their right to be fully represented in the legislature. In order to expand its power and bring about compliance with its dictates, the government has made it nearly impossible for the people to make their views and needs even heard by their representatives. The government has repeatedly suppressed protests arising in response to its actions. The government has obstructed justice by refusing to appoint judges who respect the actual Constitution and instead made the courts march in lockstep with the government dictates. The government has allowed its agents to harass the people, steal from them, jail them, and even execute them. The government has dictated militarized government agents, aka a standing army, to police domestic affairs in peacetime. The government has turned the country into a militarized police state. The government has conspired to undermine the rule of law and the Constitution in order to expand its own powers. The government has allowed its militarized police to invade our homes and inflict violence on homeowners. The government has failed to hold its agents accountable for wrongdoing and murder under the guise of qualified immunity. The The government has jeopardized our international trade agreements. The government has overtaxed us without permission. The government has denied us due process and the right to fair trial. The government has engaged in extraordinary redemption. The government has continued to expand its military empire in collusion with its corporate partners in crime and occupy foreign nations. The government has eroded fundamental legal protections and destabilized the structure of government. The government has not only declared its federal powers superior to those of states, but has also asserted its sovereign power over the rights of we, the people. The government has ceased to protect the people and instead waged domestic war against we, the people. The government has plundered our seas, ravaged our coast, and destroyed the lives of many, many good and great people. The government has employed private contractors and mercenaries to carry out acts of death, desolation, and tyranny, totally unworthy of a civilized nation, all over the world. The government, through its political propaganda, has pitted its citizens against each other. The government has stirred up civil unrest and laid the groundwork for martial law. Repeatedly, we have asked the government to cease its abuses. Each time, the government has responded with more abuses. An imperial ruler who acts like a tyrant is not fit to govern a free people. We have repeatedly sounded the alarm to our fellow citizens about the government's abuses. We have warned them about the government's power grabs. We have reminded them of our common bonds. They have rejected our plea for justice and brotherhood. They are equally at fault for the injustices being carried out by the government. Thus, for the reasons mentioned above, we, the people of the United States, declare ourselves free from the chains of an abusive government, relying on God's protection. We pledge to stand by this Declaration of Independence with our lives and our fortunes and our honor. That was 243 years ago. In the years since early Americans first declared and eventually won their independence from Great Britain, we, the descendants of those revolutionary patriots, have, through our inaction and complacency, somehow managed to work ourselves right back under the tyrant's thumb. Only this time, the tyrant is one of our own making, the American police state. The abuses meted out by the imperial government and endured by the American people have not ended. They have merely evolved. We, the people, are still being robbed blind by the government's thieves. We are still being taken advantage of by governments of scoundrels, idiots, and monsters. We are still being locked up by by greedy jailers. We're being spied on by a government of peeping toms. We're still being ravaged by a government of ruffians, rapists, and killers. We're still being forced to surrender our freedoms and those of our children to a government of extortionists, money launderers, and corporate pirates. And we're still being held at gunpoint by a government of soldiers, standing army in the form of militarized police. Given the fact that we are relatively a young nation, it hasn't taken very long for an authoritarian regime to creep into power. Unfortunately, the bipartisan coup that laid siege to our nation did not happen overnight. Just like you don't become homeless overnight. It takes a series of mistakes. It snuck in under our radar, hiding behind the guise of national security, the war on drugs, the war on terror, the war on immigration, political correctness, hate crimes, and a host of other official-sounding programs aimed at expanding the government's power at the expense of our individual freedoms. The building blocks for the bleak future were just now getting a foresight of, police shootings of unarmed citizens, profit-driven prisons, weapons of compliance, a wall-to-wall surveillance state, coast to coast, worldwide, pre-crime programs, a suspect society, school-to-prison pipelines, militarized police, over-criminalization, SWAT team raids, endless wars, etc. We're put in a place by government officials we trusted to look out for our best interest, and by American citizens who failed to heed James Madison's warning to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. In doing so, we compromised our principles, negotiated away our rights, and allowed the rule of law to be rendered irrelevant. There is no knowing how long it'll take to undo the damage wrought by the government corruption, corporate greed, militarization, and a nation of a pathetic, gullible sheep. The problems we are facing will not be fixed overnight. That is a grim reality with which we must contend. And frankly, to be as clear as I can be, we may see no relief from a police state in my lifetime or for several generations to come, depending on how fast things can get fixed. That does not mean we should give up or give in or tune out. Remember, there is always a price to be paid for remaining silent in the face of injustice. That price is tyranny. As Edmund Burke, the 18th century British statesman and author who supported the American colonists, warned, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Remember that. And freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Ronald Reagan, United We Stand. Happy 4th of July 2019, where we go one, we go all. Again, have a great Independence Day celebration, celebrating our independence and freedom and marching forward to regain a lot of it. Never give up the fight, never give in, never give up your freedoms, never give up anything to idiots. It's really, really hard to get back. I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. Where we go one, we go all.
Heard the cry and he said yes. Self-funded like a billionaire could. You'll never win cause you ain't no good. Reportable people. The bulls were wrong and we were right. Black Republicans rally with the whites. Socialism will never see daylight. No, 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 no. Because the Patriots will raise a flag and fly. I can hear their slurs all the way down in the middle class. I memorize their words. We are the racist, deplorable people. I can feel their hate all the way down in the middle class. I memorize those names. We are the ignorant, deplorable people. Yeah, yeah. Trump 2020. Yeah.
The entire world is watching. Patriots from around the world are praying for America. We are all bound by a feeling deep inside, a feeling that cannot be publicly expressed for fear of ridicule, a feeling that challenges the mainstream narrative against that which we are told to accept and dare not question. Put simply, that people are being abused by those in power and time is running out. Remember the battles of Lexington and Concord? Give me liberty or give me death. For far too long we have been silent and allowed our bands of strength that we once formed to defend freedom and liberty to deteriorate. No more accepting the lies. No more auto-truth.
No more accepting the lies. No more auto-truth.
No more accepting the lies. No more auto-truth.
We became divided. We became weak. We elected traitors to govern us. We allowed evil to prey on us. Those who claimed to represent us gave us false hope, made false promises. The evil and corruption only grew. This is more than party politics. This is about restoring old glory. This is about saving our land and our people from those who wish us harm. This is about preserving our republic. This is about preserving our safety. This is about restoring our strength. This is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is about protecting our children. This is about saving America. We are all God's children. We are all fathers. We are mothers. We are daughters. We are sons. We are brothers. We are sisters. We don't look at race. We don't look at skin color. We are united in these states of America. We are and always will be patriots. We must rise again. We must unite again. We must fight again for God and country. God bless America. These evil bastards want one thing, and the only one thing is power. They will lie, cheat, and promise you the world to obtain it. They do not love our country. They despise it. They want to destroy it. Show your love of country. Return power to the people. Return old glory to her former state. We will always honor those who fought and continue to fight to save and defend this great country. We will do our part. Will you do yours? Justice is coming. For all of you patriots, be proud. Be very proud of everything you've done. Many have died to provide. We stand together. We stand united. We stand for our flag. We stand for good. We stand for what is right. We stand for compassion. We stand for freedom. We stand for peace. We stand for liberty. We stand for justice. We stand for equality. We stand for prosperity for all. We stand for religious freedom. We stand for human rights. We stand for life. We stand for each other. We stand for friendship. We stand for love. We stand for the United States of America. Are you proud to be an American? Today, right now, America is reunited. No longer can we stand divided.